In this video, I'm going to be discussing the 3 reasons why you do not want to add your spouse to your business or payroll. And my apologies in advance if you and your spouse will be fighting after watching this. But I will also cover 5 reasons why you should add them. So hopefully that fight won't last too long. All right, so let me list out the reasons not to add them and the 5 reasons you should consider adding them real quick. And then after I kind of list them out, we'll talk about each one briefly so you can understand. So the 3 reasons not to add your spouse to your business or payroll are, number 1, to qualify for Social Security. If you're collecting disability or some other benefits or assistance, there may be a conflict. That's number 2. And number 3 is because you're married and everything you do is together. And don't worry, I'll unpack that one in a little bit. The 5 reasons why you should add your spouse to your business are, number 1, you have to because they materially participate in the business. And I'll explain what that means here in a second. Number 2, you want to save for your spouse's retirement via contributing to solo 401k. Number 3, you want to establish a health reimbursement arrangement to write off 100% of your medical insurance and medical expenses. Number 4, your spouse is a minority and you want to qualify for a minority-owned business government contract. And number 5, you want to try and qualify for the dependent care credit. All right, that's a lot. Let's unpack these reasons. But before I do, if this is your first time watching, let me introduce myself. My name is Navi. I'm a CPA that teaches entrepreneurs how to save thousands of dollars in taxes. I do that here for free on social media, but I also do it via a course. The course is designed to transform anyone from a state of not knowing much about taxes into a tax-savvy entrepreneur who implements strategies that save them thousands of dollars in taxes. Details about the course can be found on my website, which is navimuradcpa.com. All right, let's talk about those 3 reasons not to add your spouse to your business or payroll, all right? The first one, again, was to contribute to Social Security and Medicare so that your spouse can receive a benefit when they retire. Here's the thing, you need to do the math on this, okay? Generally, even if your spouse never worked under Social Security, they will receive a benefit called a spousal benefit. So, does it make sense for your spouse to pay into Social Security and Medicare to receive a benefit that may be smaller than their spousal benefit? Probably not. But again, you need to do the math for your unique circumstances. So let's look at an example, okay? If you're going to pay your spouse $20,000 a year, you're going to pay about $3,000 a year in Social Security and Medicare taxes. As a reminder, Social Security and Medicare taxes are 15.3% because you pay the employee and the employer portion as a business owner. Additionally, you'll pay more state unemployment insurance. So that could be, depending on your state, $150 to $500 more in taxes. Again, each state differs a little bit there. So if you add that all up together, so does it make sense to pay $3,500 a year now to receive Social Security later? Is that future Social Security benefit greater than the spousal benefit you already qualify for? Because if the spousal benefit is higher, you just threw away $3,500 for 10 years in order to qualify, right? That's $35,000 that is gone, vanished, okay? That money would be much better off in a spousal IRA. If you haven't heard that term spousal IRA before, basically, if you're working and your spouse isn't, you can still contribute to an IRA for your spouse. Okay, the second reason not to add your spouse is that adding your spouse may create a conflict with disability insurance or Social Security benefits or something along those lines, okay? You may lose those benefits or have them reduced or even taxed if you add your spouse to payroll and they are collecting these types of benefits. So you need to be careful about that. The third reason is, this kind of catch-all, which is like, my spouse is on all of my accounts, we're married, we own everything 50-50. I get it, I understand that. But this doesn't make sense when it comes down to the business decision. If your spouse has nothing to do with your business, don't add them as an owner and don't add them as an employee. Now, having said that, you can discuss this with an attorney in your state to see if by adding your spouse, you are receiving better charging order protection. But generally, you would establish a revocable living trust and have your spouse to be the beneficiary of your business and spell out everything that is supposed to happen with your business if something were to happen to you, right? You'd spell all that out in your revocable living trust. That way, your spouse doesn't feel left out and there's no friction between you and your spouse as you operate your business, okay? In non-community property states, when you add your spouse to your business, let's say you formed a multi-member LLC and you and your spouse are the members, Well, unfortunately, congratulations, you just created a partnership, and you'll have to prepare and file a partnership tax return, which might cost anywhere from $800 to $1,500 to have someone prepared for you. If you had left it as a single member LLC, that means you formed an LLC, but there's only one person on it, and that's you would be taxed as a sole proprietorship. And you would simply file a Schedule C, which is a schedule that is part of your existing individual tax return. So no additional tax filing fees to incur or worry about there, all right? Let me now transition to the 5 reasons you should add your spouse to payroll. Before I do though, let me ask you, if you do learn something from this video, please do consider liking it and subscribing to the channel as soon as you learn something, okay? If you haven't learned something so far, I'm going to jump into those 5 reasons here to add your spouse, so maybe you'll learn something in that section, all right? So those 5 reasons to add your spouse to payroll is, number 1, you have to because they materially participate in the business. There are 7 material participation tests that the IRS provides. And if you meet any of the 7 tests, then technically you should be paying your spouse via payroll. Here on my screen, you can see the 7 tests, and I'll provide a link in the description below so you can read more about it later. You want to save for your spouse's retirement. This is reason number 2 to add your spouse to your business, okay? Or perhaps add them to payroll. You want to save for your spouse's retirement via contributing to the solo 401k. So with the solo 401k, you can pay your spouse around $25,000 and be able to contribute $22,500 to their 401k. I know I said that quite quickly, but basically what I'm saying here is if you pay your spouse $25,000 for the year, then you should be able to defer their pay into the same solo 401k plan that you are a participant in. Okay, the third one, if you operate your business as a sole proprietorship, you may want to hire your spouse in an effort to establish a health reimbursement arrangement, okay? That health reimbursement arrangement will be available for you to pay all of your out-of-pocket medical expenses. HRAs are a huge topic, and I really can't get into it here, but if that sounds something that's of interest to you, you should look into it. Basically, with an HRA, you may be able to deduct your health insurance premiums and your medical expenses. So things like braces, LASIK, co-pays, acupuncture, the chiropractor, etc. You can deduct all of that. But in general, though, your business can't be taxed as an S corporation if you're going to try to implement that HRA strategy and deduct all those items I just mentioned, okay? The 4th reason to add your spouse to your business is if your spouse is a minority, and adding them as an owner of your business could help you qualify for a minority-owned small business benefits like government contracts, for example. This is more typical when bidding on government contracts, whether that be local or state. It could also be a marketing ploy, right? If you want to market yourself in this way to non-government businesses in which you'll be bidding for the work, that might be a great idea for you. Now, the 5th reason to add them to your business is if your spouse isn't working and you employ them, you may now qualify for the dependent care credit. So perhaps the math makes sense to issue your spouse payroll and pay a little bit of Social Security and Medicare and state unemployment insurance taxes, knowing that the dependent care credit you receive is going to more than offset those taxes that you pay. So if you're not aware what this is, there is a dependent care credit that you can qualify for if you have dependents and you pay for child care or school for them. If both parents are working and you have earned income, you then qualify for that credit to reduce your income taxes. So you need to weigh the pros and cons there, okay? And you know, this is a short video, so that's kind of it. That's all I have for you. That's what I've got wrapped up. 3 reasons you should not add your spouse and 5 reasons why you should. Now, go grab your spouse and make them watch this video too so they can be on the same page as you and me. So with that said, I'll either see you in the course or in the next video.